What's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. And yes, don't worry about my shirt being wrinkled. It's very clean and it's my favorite tank top, my favorite shirt to wear, as it's 5 million degrees outside. The sun's trying to kill me here, but that's okay. We've got some great news for you guys, some stuff that I definitely want to get into. So please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, and click that notification bell to get my videos first. And let's go ahead and jump right into it. And we're starting off with the Famitsu sales. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 update, Live Alive update, a lot of sales updates and Japanese numbers for the Nintendo Switch and how things are doing over the past 2 weeks. And plus, I wanted to just give you guys some of my thoughts and projections based on where I'm tracking some of these big RPGs that came out on the Nintendo Switch. So let's talk about this because I find it to be very fascinating in terms of how things will end up for some of these games. So Famitsu has published the past 2 weeks of sales numbers. This is from August 1st to August 14th, 2022. Now, Nintendo Switch Sports took the top spot. The game that everyone says nobody cares about, everyone forgot about. Yeah, that game apparently keeps selling, so somebody cares about it, right? Somebody's playing it. I mean, people keep buying it, or maybe they buy it then just leave it alone. I don't know. Either way, Nintendo Switch Sports top game, 53,900 units. That game is over 677,000 units in Japan alone. And remember, guys, this is just physical sales numbers. This does not count digital sales numbers, where Nintendo has announced 50% of the games out there, they have a digital ratio, digital to physical 50%. Yes, a lot of those games are definitely eShop only games, but there's still a significant amount of big games as well in the top 30 eShop charts every single week that are also retail games that are selling digitally and selling very well. So that's something that we have to keep an eye out for in the future. So next up, for those that I know you guys want to know, what's up with Xenoblade Chronicles 3? What's up with Live Alive? You guys will see the full top 10 here, and then later we'll get the top 30, which I might cover like in a live stream or something like that. So Xenoblade Chronicles 3, 39,529 units, now above 152,000 units. So this is definitely something that you want to see, where it still gets a number, tens of thousands of sales every single week. So at the end of the month, we're looking at a probably 100,000, 80,000 in Japan by itself. That's going to set Xenoblade Chronicles 3 up for some good long-term or evergreen sales. Now, it's not going to be as good as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, or it's good as Monster Hunter Rise, or some of these other games that are out there when it comes to the total amount sold. But what we're seeing is that we're seeing a higher arc for Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and not as bad of a drop-off when it comes to the following weeks compared to Xenoblade Chronicles 2, compared to Xenoblade Chronicles X, compared to the original Xenoblade Chronicles. So Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is selling a lot better, its trajectory, than the previous Xenoblade games. And the Nintendo Switch's 100+ million install base and the huge 25 million plus 26 million, whatever it is, in Japan install base is helping drive those type of sales and people picking up Xenoblade. Now, another game that I want to talk about that came out recently was Live Alive from Square Enix and also from Nintendo, but in Japan, Square Enix is the publisher for the game. Now, that sold another 20,000 units, almost 21,000 units. That game in Japan alone is over 106,000 units for a full or almost full priced game for an old school remake of a game. That is excellent. I cannot sit here and say that it's not. That is a very good thing, because some people said that Xenoblade Chronicles 3 was going to cannibalize the sales of Live Alive to the point to where nobody bought the game. Well, if we're looking at it, not even including digital, in Japan by itself, it's over 106,000 units. So if you combine digital in there along with the rest of the world, we're looking at a probable million seller coming up. If it's not already out there right now, it's going to be there in the next month or so. So that is a very good thing to see Live Alive and also Xenoblade Chronicles 3 both selling well for their respective genres and for what is going on. Because honestly, guys, these type of games in the past definitely had trouble selling for longer than its initial debut week or so, but we're seeing that it's still in the top 10, still in the top 20, top 30, so that is definitely good. Now, when it comes to hardware, Nintendo Switch was the top hardware sold, which moved another 153,000 units plus, followed by the PlayStation 5 family of systems with 46,600 units, and the Xbox Series family of systems with 8,703 units, and the PS4 still not dead yet with 28 units sold. So obviously there's stock issues everywhere for a lot of these systems and everything, but at the end of the day, not a bad roundup for the past 2 weeks, but I'm extremely happy and definitely want to focus in on Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and Live Alive doing so well, because I played both of those games. I've already beat Live Alive, very good game, but Xenoblade Chronicles 3 to me transcends what like the modern action RPG for Nintendo was going to be. That studio, the game design, Monolith Soft has to be riding high off of this, especially with that Metacritic and what they've done and all the improvements and the game quality to this title. Like, they thought of pretty much everything. It's an amazing game, and way more people are playing Xenoblade Chronicles now and are interested in the franchise now than ever before. So mission accomplished on that front, and sales accomplished on both fronts when it comes to Live Alive and also Xenoblade Chronicles 3, because I know Square Enix is happy with these Live Alive sales. They were probably a little bit worried maybe launching so close to Xenoblade 3, but they're different styles of games. One of them is a little bit cheaper, and there's just so many people that have a Nintendo Switch. That's why install base is really important. When you have a large, massive install base, you're just going to get a more bigger variety of consumers that want to play different things and pick up stuff. So you don't have to worry too much about two games that are in the RPG genre or whatever the case is being next to each other, because there's just so many people out there. Kind of like when you put two fast food restaurants kind of right next to each other that are already very popular. One of them is maybe a bit more popular. Well, there's enough people out there in that area that are probably going to go to both of them if they're both solid, right? So that's essentially what's going on right here, and I'm very happy for Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and also Live Alive. We don't have any Western or American sales updates at this point, guys, but as soon as I find something, I'll definitely let you know, or if Nintendo announces something, we should hear about it at the latest at Nintendo's financial earnings call in the next couple months here, so we might have to wait a little bit, but things are looking good based on the sources that I have from various different retail chains. Things are looking pretty good for Xenoblade, but also digital sales for Xenoblade Chronicles 3 were the highest ratio than they've ever had for any Xenoblade game, dating all the way back to X, the original. You can kind of count that, but it's not really, because that would be the original like on the Wii U Virtual Console or something like that. So you can't really count that, but when it comes to when Nintendo standardized the digital process of full price games with the Wii U and up, I mean, clearly Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is beating out the other games by a good margin digitally. So that is great to hear, at least comparatively at launch. So what do you guys think about this update when it comes to Xenoblade Chronicles 3 sales and Live Alive, in addition to the Nintendo Switch and Japan? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the next topic here, guys. We've got a big update for a massive Nintendo Switch online game coming out soon, because there was some worry about how Splatoon 3 would handle the online multiplayer. Nintendo, about a year or so ago, back when Monster Hunter Rise launched, I think in 2021, they moved over to their new online system. They moved over from the previous ones that they used for a decade plus or whatever, and moved over to the new NPLN in-house server system. So this in-house server system helps out when it comes to the quality of online play features and what developers can use for their games. Now, there hasn't been a lot of Nintendo Switch games to take advantage of this NPLN. We know about Monster Hunter Rise. I think Pokemon Legends Arceus also uses it, but there hasn't been a ton of games, but that does change with Splatoon 3. Now, we did know that Nintendo Switch Sports and I think even Mario Strikers also use the older system. The online play in those games aren't too bad, but Splatoon 3 using the new NPLN system is definitely going to help out, based off of what Mr. Oatmeal Dome had to say here on Twitter. He does data mining, and essentially what he did is that he quote tweeted someone else who did some data mining. There was a Mr. Thomas over there on Twitter, and here's what Oatmeal Dome had to say in response to that. Splatoon 3. Nintendo is using NPLN, a new in-house server system for Splatoon 3. Many of the new lobby features take advantage of NPLN. They would be more difficult or impossible to add with the old system, NEX. Now note that in-game netcode is likely still peer-to-peer. So it still will be peer-to-peer, so you can't come on there with some type of ghetto budget connection, you know, McDonald's Wi-Fi, and think that you're gonna get perfect games if everyone else is using McDonald's Wi-Fi. However, what this is going to do, it's going to be able to take advantage of the stuff like the invites and take advantage of the stuff like the lobbies and the features, all that stuff that would be a lot more difficult to implement on the previous Nintendo online system. NEX is taken care of with this. Now, there are questions when it comes to this, right? There are lots of questions. There's a lot of stuff that people want to talk about and what's going on here. And Oatmeal Dome did actually clarify a little bit more, because he states that Splatoon 3 is now the third game to use NPLN and first major online focused game to do so. He's not counting Monster Hunter Rise, because that game, I mean, yes, online, you know, multiplayer co-op, but it's not more than just 4 people at a time with Monster Hunter Rise. So Splatoon is more focused on that 8 players, sometimes even more. With Splatfest, there's like 12, right? Because you have 4, 4, 4. So he basically means that. Now, another thing that he says, that he can identify what the NPLN system is by some configuration files and everything. So people are wondering how he gets it done. That's how it is. But he also had this to say, because someone asked a really good question, and I wanted to make sure that I highlighted this with Splatoon 3 and the online play. So one of the Twitter users asked this question: which server system is used is relevant. The matchmaking that runs above has never been the problem. Rather, the poorly written netcode and peer-to-peer as used in Splatoon 2. So very interesting comment there. Now, Oatmeal Dome did reply to that, saying NPLN does have some improvements to matchmaking which can help peer-to-peer. Like matchmaking based on latency, RTT, the NPLN server can also act as a between console relay for connections with poor NAT types. While it's definitely not a silver bullet, there's areas it can help in. So that's definitely something that people are going to need, because it seems like people sit there, get the worst possible internet to play video games, then go online and say, I want to play at like perfect, you know, latency and everything. And some people have terrible connections, have their family, mom, brother, sister, dad, whatever the case is, using Netflix while they're doing it, and they're doing Wi-Fi. They're not actually hardwired in with Ethernet and everything. So yeah, so essentially what this is going to do, it's going to help out with people who have those type of connections and everything. So very good on that front. Now, it doesn't just end for Splatoon 3 there. We have some more information on the upgrades that are coming to this major online game that's going to be here very soon with the Splatfest World Premiere on August 27th, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. I'll be participating in that and some special events too. So Splatoon 3 appears to be using AMD Fidelity FX Super Resolution 1.0. Note that this is not 2.0, which uses temporal upscaling using data from prior frames. 1.0 uses spatial upscaling based only on data from the current frame. So not quite as good, but still really good. And people were like, okay, Splatoon 3 looks really sharp. It looks really good. The textures look great. I guess this is part of that because of the super resolution. And people found this over on, I think, the eShop page. The Japanese eShop page is there. So very good to see that Splatoon is going to use that super resolution. We've been seeing some of the newer games come out for Nintendo this year in particular use some type of upscaling or super resolution. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 has a great built-in native upscaling in there, so it looks a lot better docked and also portable. And now they even have Splatoon 3 with this resolution as well to help make sure that the frame rate and everything else is solid and it still looks good, whether it's in portable mode or also docked. So very good on that front and great upgrades to Splatoon 3. And another one of the reasons why Splatoon 3 is a true upgrade and not just something that they can do with an update. You can't just update these things to work the way that they're working. You have to actually build a new game. So this definitely is more than enough evidence to prove that Splatoon 3 needed to be a new game and not just an update like many people were trying to put that narrative out there with this. So very good across the board. So what are you guys' thoughts when it comes to Splatoon 3 and the big features being upgraded for the game? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the final topic here, guys, we do have a really cool accessory update for the Nintendo Switch from HORI. They have revealed the split pad fit for the Nintendo Switch. This is a brand new version of the Split Pad Pro, and I'll be honest, it looks 10 times better than the previous one, because I have the previous one and it looks like a chunky monkey, and this one doesn't look like a chunky monkey. It looks very fit and slim, which it's named appropriately. So HORI originally introduced the Split Pad Pro as a way of bringing the full-size controller experience in handheld mode that you'd get while playing your Switch docked. After putting out a number of different designs, the company has now unveiled an updated version known as the Split Pad Fit. Now, the Split Pad Fit is in many ways identical to the Split Pad Pro. You can still use a D-pad, assign functions to rear buttons, and more. However, just like the original, it does not support features like HD Rumble or NFC. So that's very unfortunate with that. So this type of control you'd probably want to use if you want to play like fighting games portable with a better D-pad. I think that is it, and also thicker, better buttons for combos. So that's essentially what I would think. Or even like 2D platformers that don't use the rumble, don't use the gyro, don't use certain features, which there are a number of 2D platformers that you don't necessarily need those features, or they're not used very well. I think that the Split Pad Fit is going to be the right system for you, and it does seem like they're kind of updating their sleek design for the Nintendo Switch OLED a bit more as well. So all of this is awesome. I love what they're doing with this. I have the Split Pad Pro and I think that it's very good. Don't use it as much as my Satisfy grip, but I still think that it's very good. So I'm very happy that they're putting out some new products here to make things even look better and slimmer, so people can have that custom options with the Nintendo Switch. That's one of the best things about the system, is that, hey, your Joy-Con not working so well or whatever the case is, you can always get different types of control methods that makes playing games the most comfortable for each person. So very good on that front, and this looks very good. Now, HORI will be releasing the Split Pad Fit this September in Japan. As of now, there hasn't been any news about plans for the West, but we'll likely be seeing it at some point given how various Split Pad Pro options have been made available overseas. We'll keep you updated if that does happen, or when that does happen. Shout out to Nintendo Everything for the article there. And yeah, like I said, it's looking very good. I might want to cop me like one of like the pink ones or like the blue one. I don't know, the white one. They all kind of look pretty good here. So I'm definitely going to get one of them when they decide to bring it out here in the West, or if I can import if they never do. So what are your thoughts on all the different topics here, guys? From the Famitsu sales to Splatoon, Xenoblade, everything that we discussed, live alive, let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and we will see you for the next video. Peace.